Hey everybody, Joy here. I'm playing with my scan and cut today. I started yesterday. I was just going to do this simple little design to put on the front of my green dress. I'm making a green dress out of this green cotton knit. I thought it's the same as a t-shirt, it's just longer, right? So you could put vinyl on it, yeah? So, I don't know, I need to start a manual on this. It is so confusing. I spent hours and hours yesterday again with a problem. My problem was, I wanted to turn a JPEG into an SVG. So, you may remember that I downloaded some software called Inkscape several weeks ago, because Inkscape is supposed to be able to change all kinds of different formats into an SVG. So I did. I changed it into an SVG, but some of these files are not that great at cutting. This one has little tiny hairs that cut out of it, because it has some little tiny spaces, and I actually made this like twice as big as it was. So it should cut perfectly, right? So anyway, I turned my file into an SVG because it didn't have an SVG to start with. Now, I don't remember why. It should have. I think I started on a different design. I don't know. Anyway, when I turned it into an SVG, Canvas Workspace could not open it, could not recognize it. I went and I looked for YouTube videos. I watched a YouTube video. It said, oh, you're so dumb. Go back and do this. And so I went back and I did what it said to do. Well, then somehow I ended up with double everything. And I don't know how I got double everything. So when it first cut it out, it cut it all the way through the paper. It cut everything. It cut totally one time, and then it went back and cut totally a second time. And I'm like, what on earth happened? So later I discovered everything was double. Also, it took my design and I separated it because it's 4 different colors. You'll see it in a little while. It's 4 different colors. I did not resize anything. I just said, take this off, put it separate, take this off, put it separate, take this off, put it separate. Well, then when it cut it all out, the things are not the same size as they were before. Some of the things are bigger, some of the things are smaller. It doesn't fit together the same. Oh, I was so frustrated. Jerry finally made me stop last night. He said, stop, and come downstairs. So, I came back up this morning, and I had cut it the second time. I finally figured out, okay, I know what I did wrong. Let's remove all of the duplicates and just cut it out once. So I recut it out once, and the cut came out fine. But that is when I discovered that some of it was bigger than I told it to be, and some of it wasn't. I actually called Brother about this. I said, my machine doesn't seem to know what size anything is. Canvas Workspace says it's 5 by 8. I put it over here and it says it's 6 by 4 or something. So she said, do this update. So I downloaded this update. Then she said, if that doesn't fix it, you're going to have to take it to a shop for repair. I said, you have got to be kidding me. I said, I live in the sticks. There's no shops here. Was not happy about that. So anyway, I'm determined. Don't ever tell me I'm not patient. I am a very patient person. I will do it over and over until I get it right. I could be, when I'm doing a bank statement, I could be 1 penny off from what the bank says we have. I'll spend days. If it takes days, I'll spend days until I find the mistake. So anyway, I finally. Then I went in and I printed out the picture. I said, oh, I'll just print out a black and white picture. And I'll put it over here by my ironing board and I can see what goes where, what goes where. The picture printed out bigger than the paper I printed it on. It did not print out the same size as it was supposed to be. It didn't print out the size it said it was. So anyway, I finally figured it out. Took me 2 or 3 hours this morning. Putting little pieces here, ironing them on one at a time, this here, measure this, measure that, center this, center that. Got it all done. I was so proud of myself. It was just as cute as it could be. I made the biggest mistake in the whole wide world. I should do a contest. If somebody can guess what mistake I made, I'll give away my scan. No. No, no, no. Ah! Let me stop and move my camera and I'll show you what I did. Oh my. How we learn, how we learn. Was it this difficult to learn when I was young? I don't think so. Hold on. Are y'all ready to see my major mistake? Just because you've sewn for like 50 years, it doesn't mean you're not going to make mistakes. Just because you got a scan and cut for Christmas doesn't mean you have a clue what you're doing. So this is a Surefit Designs top that I've extended and made a dress out of. And you can see it's got a design on the front. So here's the design on the front. Now I'm still working with this. Doesn't have a hem in it yet, and the armholes are too big because I've lost weight. So I'm just going to suck it in here under the arms, take a deeper seam. It's just a sleeveless knit Surefit Designs top that I extended to my knees to make a dress. Now, anytime one of these doesn't turn out, I designate it as forevermore a nightgown. This is an insert. It's an actual insert. I was getting ready to take this off, go downstairs, get on my sun top and go outside and get a tan, but then I looked in the mirror and I thought, you know what? What does this mean? Y'all know what it means when you can take a dart in the armpit? You know what that means, don't you? Those of you that have been watching me for over 5 minutes. It means you need a bigger full bust adjustment. And this is a Surefit Designs top. And I've got at least a D in this already. And I'm no D cup. But sometimes different garments want different cup sizes. Irregardless. Is it irregardless or regardless? Does ir do away with re? I don't know. Regardless of what size bra you wear and what size you have in other garments, sometimes certain things, especially out of knit, they want a bigger bust dart. Now this one has the bust dart moved down into the bottom. That's why we've got swing going on here. So I'm going to actually sew these two darts in this. I mean, nobody's ever going to see it. I'm just going to be wearing it here, and if somebody comes over, I'll talk to them backwards. I'll hold the mirror up. Hi, how are you? See? Okay, I just wanted to show you. Pin them in. I will mark it with the friction markers on the back, and I will actually sew these two darts in this garment. And yeah, it's a dress. It ends right here. I got my house slippers on, so. And the bottom isn't hemmed up yet. End of insert. We'll wait and see what Mr. Bernhardt says when he gets back from fishing. He came up here this morning and I was beside myself. I was like, this stupid machine! This is the worst software in the whole world. I told you earlier in this video, horrible, horrible. So you see this design on the front? It's not supposed to be here. This is not the design I was telling you about. This is a whole different design, and it had its whole different problems. Its main problem being it was about half this size, maybe a third this size. I've got it blown up 3 times the size it started out, and it still would not cut out right. You know, I don't think these people that make these designs test them. I think they should have to be sewn out and tested before they can sell them. And I'll tell you what's wrong with it. Up here where there's a spool of thread, there's a whole bunch of little tiny slashes in it that you pull out so it looks like thread going around the spool. If you start to pull those out, it pulls the whole spool off the top of the sewing machine. So, even the one that she shows on somebody's shirt, they have the whole thing on top without the threads in it. So that's what was wrong with this. Okay, so here's the deal. The one I told you about that I put into Canvas Workspace, and it ended up with 2 of everything. And the first time I cut it out, it cut all the way through the whole paper. I picked it up and everything stayed behind, and just the outside came up and everything else was still down there. I still ironed it on. I told you I worked on it for hours. Did you figure out what I did? Did you figure out what I did? Maybe you already saw it. I put it on the back. The back. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I had the front pinned on Lucy. And so I just picked up the back accidentally. And no, I couldn't use the back for the front because the front has the FBA in it. I don't have boobs in the back. So I had to put the back in the back. I started to throw it away. But then I thought, why don't I pretend like I did it on purpose? And so like when you're turning around and you're leaving, people can read your shirt. See? Oh, I know. Okay, so that's my major confession for today of how I messed up another scan and cut design. I'm going outside and sticking my face in the sunshine. But I'll be back soon.